Yeah, so welcome to this session. The session is about 5G powering the future of mobility. And we will discuss exciting themes around 5G and the implications for the automotive industry and, in general, the future of mobility. My name is Fabian and I lead McKinsey in Germany and Austria. And I have the honor to welcome also Hildegard Müller and Markus Haas. Hildegard Müller is the president of the German Automotive Association, called the VDA, since beginning of last year, and a thought leader for the automotive industry. And Markus is the CEO of Telefónica in Germany since 2017, and a shaper for the telecommunications industry. So let's get right into the topic. Hildegard, the VDA has just released a 6-point plan around the digitization of road transportation. Mm-hmm. Is that an opportunity to reimagine transportation and the car in itself?
Yeah, I think the whole automotive sector is in huge transformation. One is the digitization, but this in the combination with the carbon capture discussions and to be CO2 neutral to protect the climate. And this together implement that we have to do a lot to connect these two things. And so I would say we invented the cars and now we invent them new.
Yeah. And why is the connectivity such an important element to this?
I mean,
as an enabler?
It's the future word of mobility to connect the different spaces of from mobility, like in other famous cities like Singapore. Maybe we talk later a bit about this. But on the other hand, is also to have the new chances of technologies. I think they make the car driving more efficient. They make it safer. And so we have a huge step forward in the new mobility world.
Very good, very good. And Markus, if we now think about 5G as an enabler for a lot of making a lot of this happening. So first of all, which role does 5G play in this, and where do we stand in Germany?
Well, 5G in mobility is the perfect fit. I think we waited so long for technology that has the latency and the capabilities of 5G. Because it starts with the production, I think we will also talk later, already with the production of the car, 5G will be a key enabler to produce much more efficiently, to have all the data in the cloud, and secondly, clearly, the autonomous driving. I think it will take a while before we have it everywhere, but we start now in airports and closed areas in order to really learn the experience and also the capabilities we would need. But 5G really enables us. And I believe 5G together with mobility is also on the climate change is the solution. It's not the issue, it's the solution. It will help us to get much faster carbon neutral because it avoids traffic. It helps us to avoid traffic jams. So 5G is the solution, and we are really excited. We have already had first proof of concepts with Daimler in the Factory 56 and in Bremen, how to use 5G in production. We have now first tests also with the airport here in Munich that we have autonomous driving. So I think step by step we get there, but this technology is clearly the enabler and is, as I said at the beginning, the perfect fit.
And so you already mentioned a few examples where applications are already in reality and happening. Where do you think we stand in Germany in 5G and the opportunity capturing, or what do we need to do to accelerate?
First of all, I think we made available 5G in Germany relatively early, so some countries are already still allocating frequencies for that. Clearly, the frequencies would not need to have auctioned. I think this is clearly a key concern. We have Telefónica, we would rather deploy networks rather than have spectrum auctions, but I think Germany is currently in a good way with the new Telecommunications Act. Auctions are not necessary anymore. Spectrum could also be extended. That gives us much more firepower in the rollout of networks, and we need the best networks for Germany. So overall, the starting position actually is not too bad. Also, if we compare Germany with 5G sites rollout to other countries, we are really at the forefront. So step by step we get there, but there's still a long way to go. We still need to deploy thousands of sites. That could clearly go faster. So we still need up to 12 months in order to get a permission to build a site. This is where other countries are much faster, where they work with a fiction. So I build and then I ask for permission. But on the big picture, I would say also with the campus networks that we could build for the industry, I think we are rather on the leading side than on the follower side on 5G.
That's good to hear. That's good to hear. And you already mentioned some traffic controls and congestions type of themes. When we think about what does it mean for the cities, and we think about if we beam ourselves a couple of years forward and towards smart cities, how could we envision a city to function, and also where should we look at currently in the world to learn from?
First, I also think that the digitization of these cities is also a sense in itself. And I hope that we have up to 2025 5G everywhere in Germany. I mean, it's maybe a bit a dream, but I think it's really absolutely necessary. And let me point out, not only for urban areas. We're only talking about the possibility in urban areas, but I think we also have to talk about rural areas, because there's also large opportunities for public traffic and so on there. But coming back to the urban areas, maybe one city is normally named, then we look at Singapore. I think they have a perfect combination for the public there. Via app, they can combine their private traffic with shared systems with the public traffic sector. And I think, but when we look a bit closer here, we can look at London, we can look at Paris, but also I think Hamburg and Munich are working, and we try to prepare Munich a bit with when we come with the IAA to have also showcases here in Munich what is possible with the new mobility and the connection there. And so, yeah, I'm also very hopeful that we go a huge step forwards now, because the technology is there, but we need the infrastructure and we need the empowerment from all the municipalities here. Sometimes there's a lack of money, sometimes they are too slow, sometimes a lack of willingness a bit, because it's complicated, whatever it is. But when we want to be on top on the world with all our efforts we have in engineering and so on, then we need now the next step into the digitization.
And I think that would also probably have implications on all construction projects around, because I mean, if there's any construction in place, to think digital there as well. So even if there's a construction area for something else, we need to think about, if we dig out the streets, what else can we put in there when there's anyway a construction area to help the digital advancements. And Markus, so what is the infrastructure that would help us for also towards moving towards smart cities? What are the things we need to think about and put in place?
First of all, we fully share the target that latest by 2025 we need nationwide 5G coverage. I think we have joined not only the car industry or the mobility industry, all other industries are relying on it. We're always saying we are the trampoline, and the better the networks are, the higher all other industries could jump, because we need this infrastructure also for production, chemical, machine, also for the solution providers, for the industrial cities that are going to be built. So I think it's a must-have. I think this year we will deploy already 100 cities, 30% pop coverage, and latest by 2025 there will be 5G nationwide. And I think this is clearly a key essential in order then to drive the innovation on the mobility side, but as I said, also on all other industries. Clearly what we would need is we could go faster if we had some more planning security. There are some frequencies to be extended after the general elections, permission building, and also acceptance in the society. I think 5G is a fantastic technology, and we still hear some concerns, and I think we need a fact-based discussion on that. There's no study in the world that says that 5G has any implications. So 5G is a great technology, and we should rather leading than being too much concern-taking here on that front. So this is really important that we have the openness. Here in Munich with Vira, we opened a 5G lab, so everybody could use a 5G network here in the Kaufingerstraße in the city of Munich and experiment with 5G. So bring up new applications, see the potential and the power of 5G. So we invite everyone also to develop, because I personally learn every day a new use case, and we are still at the beginning of 5G. So the capabilities of the technology is enormous. So from that perspective, as I said, is a game changer.
And then you're saying that there's a bit of a hesitation towards new technologies sometimes, and I totally agree with that. I think on the other hand, it's also a bit surprising for me to hear that, but we also have the fact base behind it, that there's this hesitation. What can we do to overcome the hesitation what do you believe is the root cause that there's hesitation of new technology adoption, and what can we do to overcome it? Like you mentioned, like a center where people can just test things and try out things.
Well, I think it's the value add that we need to bring forward. So, for example, the SMS, I always use this example, we were not the leaders in using mobile handsets, but once the SMS was invented, Germany was a world master in SMS. No country in the world was sending more SMS per person than Germany. So if there's a value add, and we see the advantages of that, if I can avoid traffic jams, if I have a completely different possibility of take part, and clearly also the pandemic helped us to increase the acceptance of new technologies and even accelerate and keep now the pace in rolling out. So the advantages will be there. New technologies, you can't stop a new technology or a new development. It will happen anyhow. The question is, do you shape it? Are you leading on it, or are you a follower? So from that perspective, we clearly see acceptance is important, and we need good examples that really create a critical mass in order to get more or less than the tipping point to implement this new technology.
I totally agree with this. We have to use these showcases to convince the people, and so we will have at the IAM Mobility an extensive 5G network, and then there will be a blue lane where the people can experience. They can experience electric mobility, but also digitized shared systems and so on, and they can drive and use this on their own. I think that's the best way to go against every prejudice people have, and so that's one of the things we are doing right now. We are very happy that we have a legal framework right now. The Bundestag and Bundesrat in Germany brought this before the end of this legislature. And so we're happy that we have now the legal framework to work on, but they are open. There are a lot of questions still with data security and so on, and that makes the people a bit hesitating.
But I agree. I think it would help us in the country to overcome this technology hesitation, create a more technology savviness among the population, and also then building up further technology competence so that we can again be on the forefront of the technologies. And you just already mentioned like the legal framework, because ultimately the receiving end, i.e. the population, needs to welcome the technology. We need to have the technical solution, but we also need to have the legal framework around it. So in order to make these things happen, what are other roadblocks in the frameworks that we need to
No, I think it's necessary to come from the testing centers on the roads and to show this more and more, and show the huge chances we have, as I say, with safety, with comfort, and with CO2 reduction. And to have when we have these on the streets and we make the experience, and then we build up much more urban areas with these shared systems and so on, and then we will have a huge step into the new normality.
Yeah. One other aspect you already mentioned earlier was around also, it's not only on the application side, i.e. the driving and the smart cities, but also on the production side. Can you elaborate a little bit what also 5G and connectivity solutions what opportunities that creates also on the production side?
Well, first of all, the flexibility that you gain. So if you have a completely wireless production environment, and 5G is exactly precise, so it has the capabilities to have on a nanometer precise technology. So it allows you clearly to have much more flexible production environments, because without cabling you can decide to produce in the morning one car and in the evening another car if you want. So I think the flexibility that you gain and the efficiency that we need as a high-cost country is very important. So it really helps us to produce in Germany. 5G is, from my perspective, also an enabler to keep production in Germany, because it will allow us the same efficiencies that you would have in another part of the world if you create that. Secondly, also the huge amount of data that you would need to upload to a car is completely changing the game. Even during the production process, you have to produce so much, we call it a data shower. You have constant data flow to the car, and 5G is really a technology where you have also a mobile updates during the production process on all components in the car. Because it's not as in the past that you have every 2 years a navigation update or whatever. You have constant data exchange, And 5G is a technology to allow these constant updates that you need during, but especially also after the production process, once you have on a daily basis or even more than a day, updates on your fleet that's out there on the streets. And this is where 5G is a game changer, as a technology that allows really the softwareization of the manufacturing and the car industry.
And does that also imply that then various areas of the industries or adjacent industries need to collaborate in a different way in order to make that happen?
Sure, I think that the barriers between branches are going down. We have the connectivity between branches much more, and as you said, we use these modern technologies also in our production to be agile, efficient, and to implement the Internet of Things, to have control of the production process directly, and so on. And then coming up all the things we can invent in the cars, then we have to work together with other branches to build this. And so I think it's a new world of collaboration that's coming up. Mm-hmm.
And does it require also a bit of a change of mindset and how people interact with each other, or do you feel like we are on a very good path that this intuitively already is happening?
I think a bit of both. I think the people must have the normal experience that there's not such a huge change of everything. So when we look at the last year, the experience from COVID, I was 5 weeks in the VDA when we come into the COVID situation, and we stepped up directly into home office and modern and digitalized work. And then we made the experience, wow, what can we create with this? And now there's a lot of these things are the new normal. Absolutely agree that we will have a new way of working in the future, and so on. And sometimes you need a push from outside that's necessary. And so I think it's a combination of both. Maybe there are some fears, but the more the people experience it, they use it in their private atmosphere and so on, then they also will use them in their work world. And so, then we stick this together, I think. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and when you said it, a push from the outside, I also sometimes feel like the sustainability topic as a theme is also a bit like a push that is currently coming across industry, and it's a non-negotiable. So we all need to go into that direction. You already mentioned earlier regarding the traffic control system. I mean, what can also 5G technology and therefore enabling the future of mobility contribute towards sustainability targets and decarbonization?
Mm-hmm.
Well, the facts are a 5G gigabyte uses 90% less energy than a 4G or 3G gigabyte. So overall, the technological development is already clearly, by deploying a new technology, we clearly gain efficiencies here, and that we will only achieve our climate targets with 5G, and then at the end of the decade, 6G will even more energy. So we need this level of innovation to cope with the data increase and at the same time energy reduction. And traffic avoidance, I think, is a key part. So more efficient, significantly more efficiency, to have transparency about the consumption of resources, and then clearly the home office clearly is from one part clearly a key enabler for us in order to reduce traffic on the one side, but also steer traffic differently. Now with hybrid working models, you might then see people coming at 11 in the office and not everybody at 8, so that you have different shifts of times, and all this will be possible if we manage the resources that we have more efficiently, and 5G will help us to cope with that.
And then from an automotive perspective, what's
great chances. We show on the IAA, we show autonomous parking system and so on. But the avoidance of traffic, I think that's one of the most important things to intelligent, have the infrastructure, and I think that is the main point for us, to have the intelligence, especially also in the crowded areas we are talking about, like, for example, like Munich and so on, the huge cities, they all have a traffic problem. And so like when we come back a bit to Singapore, to have a connection of the different system. I think that's one of the most important things. And then have an intelligent system, but not only for private traffic. I will also mention the logistics sector. When you see how much the logistics sector is growing up in the last years, it's a great problem for the municipalities. And so with an intelligent system and logistic hubs maybe and so on, we can have better solutions also for the cities. And these crowdedness we have today can go away. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Very good. We're running a bit towards the end of the time, so maybe last question for each of you. If you would have one wish in order to accelerate this development, what would you wish?
From our perspective, that we can invest all our capabilities into rollout and networks to build this infrastructure, not into frequency auctions. That would be my biggest wish going forward.
Very good. And yours?
I wish us open minds, and I wish openness from the politics to set borders and not say this is the only technology we want to have. We need these ideas to create the new system, and so open minds.
Open minds.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for the discussion.
Thank
Thanks.
you.